As we close out the Escalate Storytelling Project, I think it's important for us to focus on hope and to focus on progress, because ending stigma in the United States, ending HIV as an epidemic in the United States, they are huge, lofty goals. So I want to have a real conversation about what progress we're making and what gives you hope, and how Escalate may be able to be a part of that hope. So Kurt, as we think of ending stigma in the United States, what gives you hope?
What gives me hope is just the resiliency of the Native community. I mean, we have historically faced so many atrocities on our people that HIV is just another layer to that. And I think that being able to build upon the resiliency of our tribal communities really will help us as we start to address HIV and really hone in on what that means and what that looks like for our people. When we start to talk about hope, I think back to my days as doing direct service work and doing case management work, and where the education and the system broadly speaking, told our people that HIV was something that's very negative, that certain people, certain class of people, certain type of people, because of their behavior, would contract this. And so many of my tribal community members really listened to that. And so when their family members came down with HIV, they ostracized them, they pushed them out. And my role as a case manager, experiencing that pain and really being able to empathize with my clients and really hear their stories and really be able to talk story with them and just kind of feel that impact with them and help them to navigate their health, navigate their working with their providers, but then also navigating coming back home. Mm-hmm. And my proudest moment was sitting in that living room with my client, with his parents, having that conversation, and then hearing his mother say, "Is it okay if I hug my baby?" Mm. And so, for me, that's my hope. And I carry that with me every day with this work. And so I think those are the types of experiences that I lean on when I'm really down and really struggling. Mm. It's like, Kurt, remember those clients. Remember that conversation in that living room. Remember talking story. So it's that type of hope that I really draw upon to get me through the struggles, get me through those times where I have to advocate, where I really feel like I'm fighting that big fight and no one's listening. It's like those people, I need to remember that I'm doing it for not just me, but for my people and for my community. So that's what gives me hope.
Resilience is such a powerful word. And I want to highlight you, and I want to say that you're resilient.
Thank you.
You know, because one consistent thread that has come from the Storytelling Project is we are the community that we serve, or at least we should be the community that we serve. So if your community is resilient, you're a part of that resilience. So you give me hope. I want to celebrate that.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask you a focus question?
Absolutely.
You do a great amount of work in the faith community. You give me hope. Seeing a black woman, trans-identified, that's clergy. Mm-hmm. I've never seen it happen before. Never seen anyone besides you in that role. What gives you hope that we can end stigma in faith communities?
You know, when I was listening to you, and thank you for sharing that story, hope is very dear, especially as a clergy, because we preach this model of faith. And to me, faith and hope is the same. Let me just appreciate the question, because oftentimes we never ask the question, what's working? What can we improve on? And I think that's what the hope that I enjoy is when we have individuals in real time asking the community that's so infected by this epidemic called HIV, what is working? The other piece of hope that, drives me as a clergy is when we ask those intentional questions on what they need, what can we improve upon, we are doing formative work that is allowing them to craft their stories in storytelling. That helps the submission of stigma in various communities, Black communities, brown communities, religion and faith spaces. It becomes a testament. And so when I think about the question, hope and the ESCALATE program that is a model to help reduce stigma in HIV. What that's really translated is that we're going to empower communities to have the hope, to share their truth, to share their testament, because that is what's going to be the tool that's going to help those communities that perhaps we can't go to, but is their community. So it's my hope that when I hear someone share about them living with HIV or them under the biomedical of PrEP, that gives me hope. The more we speak about it, the more education is there, then the reduction of stigma is entered in. And again, as a clergy, my faith is that we will see an end to HIV. And it's my prayer that as long as we continue to share our stories, whatever that might look like, as a form of education to help stigma in communities, because you will get most people as taboo. And it's my hope that we will counsel taboo and we will empower people to have the faith and hope that they need to know that they're not dying from HIV, that they can educate their community, they have resilience, and they can thrive through their testimony.
Overwhelmingly, what we've heard is that stigma in the South feels different, it's heavier, it has more implications. What gives you hope that we can end stigma in the South?
That's a great question. And honestly, I'm originally from Missouri. I'm originally from the Midwest, and now I'm based in Atlanta. And I have felt in the last couple of years the difference in that heaviness. So that is 100% accurate. And you know, stigma lives off of and needs darkness and ignorance. And what gives me hope is this unprecedented level I've never seen, I've never experienced with ESCALATE, where we bring things to light. We bring out stories of the most diverse set of human experience and community I've ever seen. It was crafted by a community. We tell those stories, we bring that to light, and we educate. There's individual reflection to break through your own ignorance, and then collectively work through it. So that's what gives me hope, is just all of the light and information and storytelling that comes through ESCALATE.
Ty, what gives you hope that we can end stigma that transmasculine individuals face?
What gives me hope is being a part of a program like ESCALATE. It went from, just, I want to hear what you got to say, and now you become part of a CAPS. I become part of the team. I want to hear your voice now. And now I want you to help with implementing this program. I want your input. Then it went from not just wanting my input to now I want you to be a facilitator. I'm not a facilitator. I didn't feel comfortable doing it, but you all pushed me because my voice needed to be heard. Every time I do the training, I learn more. Because like I said, I'm holding myself accountable. I'm looking at certain things. I gotta check myself. Am I stigmatizing other people? Because sometimes we do stigma within our own self. So I think I think ESCALATE is working. If people really take the time and really indulge and really let ESCALATE do its job, and you do your part and participate, I guarantee you are not gonna be the same person when you leave. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed. They aren't. Like I said, we're a family. We're at this conference at biomedical, we see each other, they're like, Ty, you're the reason why I like it now. And it's like, it's not because of me, it's because of ESCALATE and because of the work you put in. But I'm glad you're doing it. So it's working, but you got to do your work, but you got to do your part too.
One thing that I shared yesterday was that we have one healthcare facility on my tribal reservation that has been providing a PrEP clinic there for several years. And since 2018, they have had 0 new HIV cases at that one facility. Wow. So practices like that give me hope and tell me it's working. And so with ESCALATE, as we begin to work with providers and talk about stigma, talk about cultural humility, we can shine light on these innovative practices like this PrEP clinic to say this is what you can do, and this is a model program that we can take to other tribal communities and replicate, because this was by a tribe, this was done by tribal providers. And so it's not someone who is non-native coming in and creating this program. It was cultivated, grown by the community. So that gives me hope, and really being able to leverage ESCALATE to be an added layer to that process to really educate our providers, and not only medical providers, but our tribal employees who work hand in hand with those providers. So it's a team, it's a community, and for us, it's family. And so that's really what gives me hope.
What has worked is that you thought outside the box of bringing in more than just the basic priority populations, but those populations that have been ignored. It was an honor for me to be able to share my thoughts based off my narrative, my community, and those intersectionals that I use to lead the work for change. You were intentional about the facilitators. You were intentional to make sure that they were community raised, if that's a word, that they reflect the community. That you didn't just tokenize them, as Tyree said earlier, but you prepared them for success. You allowed them to add to the curriculum from their narrative, and you let them be able to engage, quote unquote, teach in the way that's comfortable for them.
Yes. Yes.
I'm dissecting all this because I was there at the beginning, and now I get a chance to hear the remarkable outcomes of those that participated. So when we talk about what we have noticed in change and what has been improved, the overall is you're allowing individuals to show up, participate in their authenticity. And that is bringing a great level of change to the ESCALATE program, but especially to those communities that are impacted with stigma and HIV. And it's making a world of a difference.
All right, sounds like ESCALATE's working. And I hope that you know that we can do this together. We can eliminate stigma and we can eliminate HIV as an epidemic. Thank you for your time.
Amazing.